Alright, it's July 22nd, 85 degrees, but we gotta go put some bait down in front of the camera here, kind of get inventory. There's been 2 bucks on this camera. One's not terrible, but we'll put some of this BB2 granular. We'll put it down. And we got a bunch of cameras to put up today. This is just our first stop. We've already got a cell cam here. This cam will get moved closer to season. I like this one here. It sits between 2 fields. Get the camera flip. We got this big, thick fence line. We got corn on the other side of that tree line. And there's a gap up here. I've been running a camera here for several years in this spot. I don't hunt right here. I hunt down the fence line on the far east of the field. And I hunt further south down this side of the field. But I like this camera here to kind of see what's in the area, see what's using this. So we're just going to get this stuff put out today. And then we'll start hanging some cameras. Stay with us, see what we can get into. Alright, we got the stuff put down. Here's this camera. It's an Exodus render. Running on the solar panel. I am on the second or third year running this. I think I'm only on my second set of batteries in that amount of time. The solar panel is unbelievable. It gets some sun early in the morning. Once later season gets here, obviously, leaf cover goes, and this thing will, if I decide to leave it here, it'll run year round. I never shut this one off. It stays put. But if you've never used an Exodus, go check them out. Customer service is unbeatable. Picture quality is amazing. I'll try and throw a couple pictures on here from this camera or video clips. But yeah, I love it. I've got the render and a couple reveals and rivals. So go get some more camera sound. Real quick, thinking about somebody asked me if I run minerals or blocks in front of all my cameras, preseason, postseason. No. There's a few that I will put stuff in front of in early. I like to get my cameras set up in July. But then there's cameras I will set on spots where there's scrape lines, close to bedding areas. I do not put anything in those. I just want to catch natural movement there. Doesn't do me any good to put a camera there and throw bait, because now I'm going to alter the natural movement, and I'll get deer that come to that maybe don't normally come through there. You know, maybe they found it one day and keep coming back for the mineral or corn or whatever you use. So those cameras I just put to catch natural movement. I don't want to alter anything there. I don't want to alter any movement. And a lot of those cameras, like the next one we're going to set, is in a spot I won't hunt. I hunt the fringes of this place, but I do like to get a camera in a little bit closer to the bedding, so I kind of have an idea what's going on in there. But yeah, I think that's what's help. I think people use mineral and bait too much around cameras. I know there's some spots, if you're trying to get inventory like this, it's just kind of a little open spot where it's a great spot to get inventory. And we got one we're going to put across the street here on this farm, same kind of area. We'll put a block down just to kind of get inventory. All this stuff will be pulled way before the season starts. Usually September. I'll make sure there's nothing left. If there's any blocks, I'll get it pulled, get all the dirt dug up around it. But those areas I will. But in a lot of areas you just want to get natural movement and funnels or pinch points, and those I don't put anything down. I think then you're getting a false sense of what actually normally goes on there. So what we got going on today? We got so this is what I use a lot. This is Big and J BB2. I will use a trophy rock. I usually use those in places where I don't hunt. There's one farm that I don't hunt much. I'll put that there. I'll get it pulled here in first week of September. I'll pull that if there's anything left. Bag, pruners, clippers, loppers. I got a stand. I still got to get one stand hung. And then our cameras, which are in the back. We'll take a peek at those real quick. I mean, you can't see anything because they're out in the tote. Cameras in this tote. We do have some spy points. Not a fan, but they do the job for pictures and stuff. Not the greatest picture quality. And then we got some Exodus in there. We got some tact cams, a couple of more spy points, and then we got some regular SD cameras. The SD cameras, spots that are simple to get to. Maybe on a corner, I can get to it as I'm walking to a stand somewhere. That way I can just check it on the way in. I'm not interrupting anything. I don't have to make any special trips out there. I'm not walking anywhere out of the ordinary. I like to do that. I put the SD cams in spots that I can just check on the way in to hunt. And I also run a bunch of SD cams in places that I don't hunt. And those I usually leave soak for the entire year. Like I'll put some out now and I will check them after the season. I may check them once or twice before October to see what we got. There are areas that are away from where I hunt, but then some of them I just leave. Some of the SD cams I throw in areas on farms that I hunt that I haven't tried yet. You know, maybe it's a corner that I haven't been into or a spot that I think might be good. I may run that camera all year, check it at the end of the year, and see if it's worth maybe the next year setting up there and making a play on it. But yep, on to the next place. All right, we are in spot number 2. We just got parked. Heading back here, we got a couple cameras to set. We're gonna set an SD camera on this corner. I can check when I hunt in the mornings on the way in, and we're setting 2 cell cams. One in that corner and one in about the middle of the woods by this bedding area where there always ends up being a scrape line and a rub line. We're going to get that in there because we don't hunt back in there. But I want to get one in there, get a cell cam in there. We don't have to go back in there for it at all this year. We can monitor the camera and see what deer are using this out here and see how it goes. Honestly, to me, this is one of my favorite parts of deer hunting. The preparation, the scouting. It's one of my favorites. In the last couple of years, I've not been able to do it much. Not this past season, but the season before that. After the season ended, I ended up having vertigo and nystagmus and could barely walk. Just had no balance, dizzy. Had to have people come help me pull my stands, and I couldn't do much scouting postseason because it was just so tough to walk. Then going into last season, I was having issues with strength, and I didn't know what was going on. And come to find out, I had some spine issues in my neck. Two of my vertebrae were pinching the nerve and actually touching the spinal cord. It was a real mess. It was a mess. No strength. Could barely walk. Didn't hunt any public last year just because I couldn't carry anything in and walk. It was like I was carrying an additional couple 100 pounds every time I would do anything. So postseason scouting was very minimal. Had the surgery in March. And best thing I ever did. Feel a lot better. I'm excited about this year. I can get back at it like normal. And I can scout. This has been out a couple times. Matt Lear and myself were out last week. Walked a bunch of public. Sets and stands. And today we're in here. We're just going to get some cameras set. Set a regular SD card cam right there. I'll do it on the way back out. We're going to go in up here by one of my stands. There's a trail that goes back there a ways. We're going to get one set in the middle, back a little deeper. A couple of things I carry: zip ties, cutters, pruners, a small saw. Carry this thing. It's great for whacking down taller grass that might be in the way of a camera. Just some things you should carry when you're setting stands. It'll help out tremendously. One thing I didn't carry was bug spray. And you can see I'm in sleeveless. So I may pay for this shortly here. Because I'm sure we get in the dark, shady woods, there's going to be some skeeters. So we'll deal with that when we get to it. Alright. We just got that camera set. So we're looking at, we're here by this bedding area over here. And in there, we got just this natural little opening in the woods. So we got a camera in here. Kind of a little staging area. We're about midway in the woods. And I won't check this again. You know, we may move this after the rut. I may come in here and pull this if I have to move it somewhere else, but it's just going to stay there. Good trail coming from that way. Got a heavy trail right here. Runs that way. One that runs that way. And we had some scrapes last year here. And there was a scrape there. And you can see the remains of a scrape right there. Alright, we got one camera hung. We're going to get up to this corner. Hang an SD card camera. This corner has always been pretty good. We get deer crossing from across the road, the other farm I hunt. It's actually where the deer I was after last year was on camera the most. He was bedding in this corner. The corner is just super thick. Multiflora rows. The deer like to bed in this corner, and the bucks know that. Come late October, they start cruising this corner looking for the first hot doe. It's got a fence all the way around it. There's only a couple spots that the fence is next, and the deer know that, and they use it. Not that they can't jump that with ease, but deer are like humans; they're fairly lazy. All right, we got that one hung. It is an older Stealth Cam, 34 model. It actually takes really good pictures. It takes video too, but I don't set it on video anymore. But we got a trail going into that corner. We got beans, and the deer come from across the road a lot. Go back and forth, so it seemed like a great place to put it. Now we're gonna head down here and set the last cam on this farm. All right, so we're going in here. We're gonna set our last cam on this farm. I like to set it on that tree, looking into this grass. The deer love to come into this corner. That's where I get most of my pictures early season. come, they bed over there in the ditches. They tend to congregate right in this grassy corner here. There's a few beds actually, right there. There'll be scrapes. Under that on the field edge. There'll be scrapes out there. And there'll be scrapes all up and down this. But we just keep this camera here early season. And I will put a block here and come get it in September. Alright, we are done with the cameras here. Now I like to keep 2 or 3 cell cams available for during the season. If you come across something, I'd rather not have to run out and pull one I already have hung. So right now I have 3 more cell cams that are ready to go once the season gets going. If I feel like I need to move one, or good thing I walked out this way. My gloves are laying there in the field. I feel like I have to move one, I can just deploy another one. I don't have to go grab one I already got hanging somewhere, because you just never know. And if I take a trip, go on some public or on one of my farms and I start seeing something that maybe I want to get a camera on, usually when I hunt I'll throw one in my bag. Every time I scout, I'll have 1 or 2 in the bag. You just never know. And then I've got a bunch of regular SD cams that are fresh batteries, clean cards, ready to go. And I'll use those quite a bit during this time of year. Got a couple places that I can drive right up to, edges of spots that are kind of watching, areas that I know the deer use in the summer, and they end up in the woods or they end up where I hunt. I've got some places that I have permission to run cameras that I can't hunt. That's actually where the last 2 years where I found the biggest deer I was after was on those other cameras, because their summer range was different than where they ended up in October and November. So a good tip, if you got, if you carry a camera in your bag, you always have one. You come across something when you're scouting, because I will scout during the season as well. Not as much on my private places. Let's say you come across a fresh rub line you just got opened up. Throw a camera on it. If you got one in your bag, you already got it, throw a camera on it. A lot of those are good situations to throw an SD card camera on it and just let it soak. End of the season, pick it up and see if you can learn some stuff about that piece that maybe you didn't know. Maybe a way the deer use it that you weren't sure about. Or you keep a cell cam in your bag and throw a cell cam on it. I don't use them like I used to. It used to be just, I think one of the big mistakes is people set cameras and then they want to check them all the time. You're just shooting yourself in the foot doing that. The more times you check, the more set you're leaving. There's some cameras that, like, a camera I got that's, half a mile away from here, that I can check. I'll check it once a week, but I drive right up to it. It's in the middle of a field on a post. And I think the deer are kind of used to farmer traffic there. That's not that big of a deal, but these cameras you got in the woods or on trails, or if you're checking them, walking out there checking them all the time, you're just leaving your scent. You're educating deer. That's where cell cameras have really come into play. They keep you out of the woods and still let you scout with the camera. But all right, we're at the truck. We're gonna go check a couple more, set a couple more, and stay tuned. One real quick tip that I don't think gets thought about enough, and I sure thought about it last week when I was with Matt. I'd worked all night, 5P to 5A, been on my feet all night working. Got home, changed, grabbed my stuff, and we went out. We moved some cameras, we set some stands, we scouted a bunch, 10 or 12 hours worth. And the last piece we scouted public, we walked in a good ways down a 2-track, then cut through the woods, walking through some thick, nasty stuff. And not far into that walk, I went to lift my leg over the log, and I felt my hamstring start to get tight and cramp, and I got a Charlie horse. And it was bad. Well, I had a bottle of water with me. He had it in his pack. And I started drinking it. And immediately,
quarter of the way through the bottle, I started to sweat. It was then I realized I was dehydrated. But when you're summer scouting, it is imperative that you stay hydrated. Electrolyte replacements, water, Gatorades, whatever you can do, stay hydrated. Pickle juice is good for emergency situations, but you've got to stay hydrated. I started to cramp up, and like he asked if we wanted to turn around. Luckily, I had the water. If I wouldn't have the water, I probably wouldn't have made it back there. I would have had to just suck it up and walk back to the truck because it was really bad. But you get so dehydrated, your muscles start to cramp up. You have got to carry enough water and Gatorade. They make little electrolyte replacement packets. Carry those, throw them in a water bottle, mix them up. But stay hydrated when you're summer scouting. I mean, you're sweating. I chew tobacco. I know it's bad, but you're spitting. So you're giving away your fluids, your water intake. You've got to stay hydrated. Stay on top of it. It'll be way more enjoyable. Take some snacks, protein snacks, meat sticks or cheeses, and almonds are good. But take some snacks, but for sure take plenty of water, plenty of electrolytes, and stay hydrated while you scout.